Hey everyone, so today we're diving deep into a YouTube skit that absolutely blew up. On the surface, it's just this hilarious, chaotic classroom comedy, but trust me, it goes so much deeper. We're talking about big themes here, like dreams, burnout, and this wild line between fiction and real life. So yeah, let's get right into it.
All right, so this line right here, it pretty much sums up the whole vibe of tuition. It's this classroom where the teacher is making these insane threats, and the students are just, well, they're being students. It's loud, it's funny, and at first glance, you just think it's about the classic battle of trying to get out of doing your homework.
So let's peel back the first layer. This is really all about the fun, the pure chaos of it all. And right at the heart of that chaos is a student named Tina and what she calls her master plan. And this plan, it's what really gets the comedy rolling. Okay, so what even is this master plan? Well, it's kind of two things at once. Part of it is just a classic student move, right? A scheme to get the teacher off her back so she can skip homework. But the other part is huge. It's her personal ambition to break the Guinness World Record for dancing for 126 hours straight. No big deal.
And you know what's so great about this? It perfectly sets up the dynamic in that classroom. Here's Tina with this absolutely massive, kind of out there dream, and her friends, they immediately drag it back down to earth with these sarcastic, relatable comments. Their problems are way more grounded, you know? They're worried about things like heartbreak and just getting by.
And right here, this is where things start to get a lot deeper. Because under all that fun and all those jokes, you start to see that every single student is fighting their own battle. They're all dealing with their own sangharsh, their own struggle. The comedy is really just a cover for some pretty real stuff. Take Sinu, for example. The second he hears about Tina's dancing record, where does his brain go? Straight to his own heartbreak. He actually compares his relationship to her dancing goal, which just goes to show you how his own pain is coloring his entire world. And then you've got Golu. He's the funny guy, always cracking jokes. But when he talks to the teacher about the 4,000 rupee fee, wow, you can feel the weight of that. He says the stress has basically emptied his mind. It's a joke, but it's not really a joke, you know? It's a peek into some serious financial pressure. And that whole theme of hiding your pain comes up again. Someone says queens never cry, and Sinu's comeback is just perfect. It's hilarious, but also incredibly sad. It's this little window into that pressure we all feel sometimes to just be strong and not show anyone you're hurting. So if you look at the big picture, you see this really interesting split. The students, they're wrapped up in their world, right? We're talking heartbreak, world records, dodging homework, paying fees. But the teacher, man, his focus is on a whole other level. He's dealing with all of their problems, plus the heavy, heavy weight of his own failed dreams. And that right there, that brings us to what I think is the real core of this whole thing, the teacher's story. We see him as this loud, strict guy, but that's not the whole picture. Not even close. There's a real hidden pain there. The skit does something really smart here. It kind of forces you to shift your focus. It wants you to look past all the yelling and the funny threats and actually see the person underneath it all. And you realize he's just as stuck as his students are, maybe even more. And how do we find this out? Through this one really powerful confession. A student makes a joke about him giving up, and the teacher just snaps. He reveals that he tried to pass the super competitive medical entrance exam. Not once, not twice, but 3 times, and failed every time. I mean, that one line just changes everything, doesn't it? Suddenly, you realize he's not just tired of his students, he's completely exhausted from carrying the weight of his own dream, a dream that's turned into a burden. And then he has this moment of total clarity. He decides he's done. He's going to take the money he'd saved for his next exam attempt and use it to buy his students a treat. I mean, think about that. It's such a small thing, buying them fried rice, but it's a huge symbolic moment. He's literally trading his broken dream for a little bit of happiness for them. Okay, so you think that's the emotional high point, right? Story over? But nope. Just when you think you've got it all figured out, the creator pulls back one last curtain. Because there's another layer to this, a story behind the story that exists completely outside of that classroom. And all of a sudden, everything we've been talking about, the struggle, dreams becoming burdens, feeling totally overwhelmed, it's all about to get very, very real. We're stepping out of fiction now.
So, right at the end of the actual video, a message pops up from the creator himself, a guy named Lil Yash, and he lays it all out. He reveals that his entire channel, it's not some big production. There's no crew, no fancy setup. It's just him, alone, in a dark room.
And he says this is his farewell. He explains that the pressure of being a one-man show, it's just become too much. He can't keep going like this on his own. And, I mean, wow. The parallel is just staggering, right? The fictional teacher in his skit gives up on a dream because it became a burden, and now the real-life creator is telling us he has to do the exact same thing.
So this whole thing that started as just a funny little comedy skit, it leaves us with this really deep and honestly kind of heartbreaking question. By completely blurring that line between the character and the creator, it makes all of us ask ourselves, when does a passion stop being a passion and start becoming a burden? It's a heck of a final thought, and it proves this story was always so much more than a few laughs.